Elder Onyemoro once again had the floor, this time talking about personal income tax rates and the menace of multiple taxation.
There should be review of tax rates on personal income tax to make it more realistic. I think the joint tax board should come closer to now, make this rates very realistic enough, so that by the time somebody removes what actually he can spend on this, he knows that whatever that remains belongs to government. It's only a greedy person that will not want to pay the normal tax. So that will help us to close that gap in compliance. It's important that we should do that. Another area is multiple taxation. Multiple taxation, call it whatever you think, but not go to government is taxation. Whether it is levy or rate or whatever, they are all taxation. But they come in different names from different organizations from different levels. You will stay in Enugu, they'll tell you it's Enugu North. This one is Ministry of Commerce. This one is from here. And the people that they will send are touts. Send in trained personnel that will be so courteous. It is not wrong for someone to do a business. That we are doing business is helping the government. Is it not true?
Once more, I want to make a request. I made this request in Lagos. And that is for you to file an account in any Federal Inland Revenue Service in the country. You will get registered. And because of that, take for instance in Lagos alone, you have over 5 offices. In which case, if you have clients in those offices, you will need to register. We are suggesting, maybe it is being addressed, that a single registration that is akin to what obtains in the CAC be done. Once you are accredited, you have your accreditation number. That should serve you to file account in any part of the country.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, waiting be this.
The deduction now for withholding tax.
Withholding guinea. Look, if you no pay me my correct money today, hey, Munu get made you half for.
But madam, should be your company paying income tax.
Yes, that one na enough load for me to carry. Why in I won't come add join them again?
You see, withholding tax now advance payment for income tax. So when you do some kind job like contract, we go remove small from them when we won't pay you.
I don't go contract am up. No. I bet tell me another.
No. We must pay the money to FIRS within 30 days, and they go give us withholding tax credit note to take show say you don't pay part of your income tax in advance.
So
now to help make the money where you go pay at the end of the year small.
So this withholding tax something, it be like part payment of no.
Exactly, madam.
I beg you, give me my check.
Remember, come collect your credit note.
Withholding tax, now for we own good. FIRS, it pays to pay your tax.
Welcome back. The program is still Tax Matters, and we are bringing you the story of what transpired at the Stakeholders Summit held on Friday, July 29 in Abakaliki, Ebonyi State, all in our bid to let you have your say. Now to the responses from the side of the tax administrators.
On the issue of tax rate, I want us to be clear that tax rate is different from the allowances. I had the privilege of going into the internet, and I found out that Nigeria has one of the lowest tax rates. The maximum in Nigeria now is 25%. But I found out that Angola, the highest tax rate is about 60. Japan is about 50 or 52. UK is 50. Gabon, the small country there, is 55%. US, if you add the federal and state, is about 45.5. And you know that tax evasion there is almost zero. So, but what I know we need to address is the issue of allowances before arriving at the chargeable income. Again, even though you are talking to this body, we cannot change it. We are only administrators. We only implement the law. It is the National Assembly and tax is in the exclusive list. So there's little or nothing we can do, or the state's revenue services can do.
When you are in need of advice, when you are in need of a consultant for whatever level in the chain of that your bid to fulfill your tax obligations, who do you go to?
Now, the issue of registration is crucial and important. You discover there is an understatement to even say that there are quacks, among consultants. There are really many, and at the FRS level, last week, Thursday, we were able to meet on this to be able to fashion a way out, to weed out quacks for the midst of consultants dealing with FRS. One thing that is clear with the FRS is that with regard to preparation of and approval of accounts, we have only ANAM and ICANN being able to certify those returns. And with regard to answering queries, the law makes it clear, and we have the CITN being the body established for that purpose to be able to come up with answering of queries as far as the returns are concerned. We also agreed that by the end of August, whatever suggestions we may have concerning the registration of consultants should be forwarded to the FRS. That's part of the communique that was issued after the meeting, so that we should be able to take steps to register the various categories of officers, those who are working with us with regard to, the accounts to be submitted, answering of queries and other things.
On the evidence of deduction, you see, it's not as easy as is being presented here. There are some contract employers who did not build VAT into the contract sum. Even in government, some will ask you tender, and they have not asked you to include, even though you are expected to include VAT. But in some cases, you don't build it into it. So we cannot say it's the same rule that is applicable to both. But bear in mind that the contract employer is the consumer. That the fact that the government is passing it through the contractor does not mean it's the contractor's money, except where it is built into it. It is the government that is paying, and it is the government that is the consumer. So what evidence do I need to give you? I don't need to give any evidence to the contractor. Let the contractor just disclose to the revenue office that VAT on that contract has been deducted. So we begin to talk to our officers and educate them that they shouldn't create problems for you. That's where the issue is. Peter Amendment, just like the chairman Anambra State said, the JTB had made useful contribution. The two houses of the National Assembly also looked at it, and they have agreed. We want a simple system. You just take the individual, aggregate all your income together, and go with just some percentage, which is about 200,000 naira plus 20% of your entire gross income. That's your personal allowance. That's what the National Assembly approved, which is before Mr. President now. That's better. Single registration, that's a fantastic one. Why should a consultant register in Lagos and be made to come and register in other offices of revenue where they're transacting business? Everything is ICT driven today. Once you register in Lagos, you'll have a view, and that's it. And one last thing is on the VAT threshold. The consultant said, why should they be doing our job for us? Even you as consultant, you're not registered for VAT. We've been having problems with lawyers and consultants. You're not charging VAT from your customers. That's a big problem. And going forward, that's what we're saying to the FOPP department. We should even prevent these people from representing corporate entities. If a consultant is doing business with FRS and is not registered for VAT, why should we continue to do business with you? You are not communicating the right message. The World Bank has suggested to us now that we must introduce a threshold. Anybody below that threshold will not be in the VAT net. And what's that amount? $40,000. That's about 6 million. We're including it in the review of the VAT law now, that if your turnover is below $40,000, approximately $6 million, you should be excluded from the VAT system. But you know what that means is, not to say they shouldn't pay VAT. When they go to make purchases, they must pay VAT. But we deprive them from claiming input taxes.
This concludes our offering on the Stakeholder Summit held in Abakaliki, Ebonyi State. We hope that once again, we have been able to contribute towards deepening your knowledge on the workings of the Nigerian tax system. We want you to have a very good week ahead as we leave you with this parting shot.
Another thing really that will help the tax administrators now is what use has the government, because the collection goes to the governments either at the federal level or at the state level. What use do we put these taxes or collections to? Is it to the welfare of the people? As soon as people see that their tax money is being used for their welfare and they see what you are doing, believe it or not, it will be very easy for them to comply.